Good morning, you four, and welcome to your reading on Thursday, the 11th of February. And we are going to continue our learning skill of summarising, where to be successful, we must be able to pick out the key points of a text, describe the main message, and order events using numbers. So for your starter, can you summarise this paragraph in one sentence? The Cooper family woke up. It was a beautiful sunny day. They were so excited to be going to the beach. They left early, drove sensibly down to the coast, and spent the whole day sunbathing and playing. They left when it got dark and fell asleep as soon as they arrived home. So pause the video and write one sentence which summarises this whole paragraph. Right, let's see how you did. So to summarise the paragraph, I put, the Cooper family had a fun but tiring day at the beach, because the point of the paragraph was telling us they were excited to go to the beach and they spent a whole day there. It also told us that they were tired when they got back because they fell asleep. So that's a simple way of telling everybody what this whole paragraph was about. Okay, I wonder if you wrote something similar. Now, these are the types of questions that you might get when you're thinking about summarising. So when you do reading comprehensions, these are the types of questions you might see. So we've done some in our previous lessons on these, which are ordering the events, okay, and making sure you really do find them in order. We've also talked about what is the main message, and then which of the following be the most suitable summary of the whole text. So that's similar to giving it a title like we just did. And the one perhaps we haven't looked as much at, although I think I mentioned it in one of the lessons, was stating whether information is true or false, but in this type of diagram. Okay, so where you have to go down and for every statement, you have to tick whether it's true or whether it's false. Can you tick both? No, because it can't be true and false. So it's really important that you're putting one tick in each column depending on the answer for every sentence. Okay. So we've got two texts to look at today and then some questions that follow, and you'll be able to find all of the questions on Teams. I'll just be modelling a couple of them. Okay, so first of all, we've got a text called Charlie Brooke. Charlie Brooke was always very helpful. At the village school, he reigned in the playground. He was great at football, cricket, gymnastics and swimming because he was very strong. Charlie's school friends loved him and Charlie was always willing to help them. Charlie to the rescue, his friends on the playground used to say. Charlie was happiest when he was helping someone else. By the time that Charlie left school, he was incredibly strong. He was over 6 feet tall and his shoulders were very wide. Charlie had curly fair hair and bright blue eyes. He always had a kind expression on his face. Okay, so here's two of the questions. Which of the following statements best describe Charlie Brooke? So you need to reread the passage and think what statement describes him. So is it a professional athlete with many friends? Someone people tried to avoid? A kind and sporty schoolmate? Or a teacher at the local village school? Well, does it say anywhere in here that he is professional? Can you find the word professional? If you can't, then it's definitely not that one. We know he's not a teacher. We definitely know he's a child. So we're deciding between these two. Okay, is it somebody that people try to avoid, or is it a kind and sporty schoolmate? So in the text, was everybody saying they liked him? If so, then you'll choose a kind and sporty schoolmate, or people saying they were scared of him, and then you choose that one. So think, which one is it? Okay. This text is taken from a chapter called Charlie Brooke. Based on what you've read so far, write a new title for this chapter. Okay, so think about what you've just read and what could this chapter be called. Okay, and like I said, there are some more questions about that text, about Charlie, on Teams. Now we're going to move on to our next longer short story extract. So this is called A Real Virtual World, and it's by Steve Johnson. Ever since I moved to the new house, life had been a little boring. Don't get me wrong, the house itself was cool, brand new, only just built, and way bigger than our last place. It's just that we were miles away from any of my friends now. I used to play out on the street with Lucas and Cody all the time, but now they hung out together while I was stuck in the middle of nowhere. Come on, Jamie, my mum kept saying. Go and explore, see what you can find. Maybe you'll meet some new friends. Not much chance of that. Our house is one of the first to be finished on this new estate. Looking out of my bedroom window, I can see diggers and a few big metal containers, but apart from that, just empty, muddy fields. It's not all bad though, because I've been able to spend loads more time building new worlds on my tablet computer. Before we moved, I wasn't that good at it. Now I'm practicing all the time. I can create some really original stuff. I'm starting a new world today, beginning with the best house I've ever designed. Something really weird has happened this morning. Last night I made a start on that new world. I was determined to make a great job of it, to show Lucas and Cody when I next saw them. So I began carefully with all the foundations I needed. After flattening some land, I dug trenches for where all the walls needed to be built on this amazing new house I had planned. It had taken me ages to find the right spot, exploring in the virtual world. The battery almost died on the tablet and I had to plug it in to charge it up. Anyway, the strange thing is when I looked out of my window today across our back garden, the trenches were there. I mean, outside for real. I wasn't sure at first. I thought I was being ridiculous in imagining it. However, I dashed to get to the tablet and loaded up my world, holding it up to compare side by side. I was sure those trenches that had appeared outside beyond our garden fence looked exactly like those I'd designed myself. I figured there was only one thing for it. I needed to keep building and see what happened. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think this is true? Do you think if he keeps building, he's going to see this outside? Well, it has happened again. This time, I know it's true. I built the first rows of bricks for the house on my tablet and deliberately chose some really obscure colours. So that means strange, out of the ordinary colours. Just to make absolutely certain, I changed my design too and dug out the space for a swimming pool in the space at the side. You know what? There it was this morning, outside my window, behind the far edge of our garden. Same bricks with the same swirling pattern of orange and blue, in the same shape as my virtual house on the tablet. To the right, a great hole big enough for a swimming pool. It's amazing. My virtual world is becoming real. Maybe when it's finished, I can use it as my own personal hideout, like the biggest, best den ever. Imagine what Lucas and Cody will say when they come over to visit. I can't wait to keep building. Early this morning, there was a knock on the door. This was before I'd even had a chance to check on the progress of my real virtual house behind the garden. Hoping to see the beginning of my newest features, sad and disappointed, I went to open the door. Tall, with round glasses and wearing a yellow builder's hat and fluorescent yellow jacket, a serious-looking man stood at our doorstep as Mum and I arrived to answer the door together. There was some kind of internet connection problem, he was explaining to my mum, looking occasionally down at me. Nothing to worry about and no one to blame. Urgently needing to be fixed, though, he said. The Wi-Fi signal had been crossing and a device traced to our house had been accidentally saving files to their computer server, overwriting existing plans. I blushed. So what's happened? Because you thought it couldn't be true. Well, his plans from his computer had been uploaded to the builder's company, so the plans they were following were actually his. So apparently the builders hadn't thought anything of it when they first dug new trenches. They had been a bit bewildered when putting in the brightly coloured bricks and digging out the swimming pool, but suspicion had only really been aroused today when they viewed the plans for a shark-infested moat around the house, a drawbridge and a watchtower. There we go. So let's look at these true or false questions then. You'll find some more in Teams. So looking at this passage here, true or false, there are lots of houses surrounding Jamie's new house. So let's look for our keywords. Is it there? No, not really a keyword. Surrounding, maybe. Houses, and that's mentioned twice, so I think that's definitely a keyword. Right, we've got a house there, but do we see surrounding? No. Okay, let's keep going. I'm looking for houses. Okay, I can't see surrounded, so what will I do next? I think I'm going to have to read it in a bit more detail. So let's read around where I find houses. Ever since I moved to the new house, is that telling me about where and how many houses? No. Okay, what about this one? Our house is one of the first to be finished on this new estate. Ah, yes, that tells me. So if there's only one house to be finished, let's read on. Looking out of my bedroom window, I can see diggers and a few big metal containers, but apart from that, it's just empty, muddy fields. So from reading this, I know that there aren't any more houses yet. There are only either one, or as it says, one of the first, just a couple of houses. So can it be true that there are lots of houses surrounding Jamie's new house at the moment? No. Okay. So it will be false. So there we go. So there's just some idea of how to tackle the questions that you will see on Teams. Okay. I look forward to seeing your answers, and we will see you for a mixed comprehension tomorrow.